Thank you, sir. Good morning. My name is Javier Rodriguez with National Life Group, or NLG for short. And I want to thank you here for listening to this quick message today about how to bulletproof your financial future. Here for two personal causes. The first one is as follows. Baker to Vegas, we're doing a fundraising event for your Baker to Vegas team, which is right around the corner. We got a total of 47 different teams throughout Southern California that requested fundraising assistance, and we're here to make the race possible for your team. And so I want to just go ahead and thank everybody. We usually do a Baker to Vegas fundraising barbecue, which we're not doing this year just because we don't have enough time. The race got moved up on us just a little bit, and with 47 teams requesting our help, we just can't do it. We were at the Escondido PD last week. We were with the Garden Grove the week before that. We're going to LAPD for the rest of the month. And so we are going to move through this very, very quickly because I don't want to take too much of your time. And so this is on a personal note. Now, the second cause that I'm here for, what I call a crusade, is more personal. I understand what a lot of you are going through, what a lot of you are going to be going through as well. I've been a public servant. I was a public servant my whole life. I did my 4 years in the Marine Corps, came out, joined the LAPD, and so I retired from there. And now I go around teaching officers about concepts and products that most officers do not know exist that can help you secure or bulletproof your financial future. So I'm not here to sell you a thing, so please open up your mind because this can make a great difference as it relates to your financial future as well. When it comes to your retirement, money's not everything, but it's going to rank up there with oxygen. And my recommendation for you is to make sure that you have everything in order, your financial house in order. So even if you've got 25 years to go, at least you know today that you're going to be taken care of by the time you retire. Three greatest risks you're going to face while you're working and beyond include the following. Number one, dying too soon. That's why we obviously obtain life insurance. That's why we wear the vest that we wear, and so on. However, statistically speaking, you're not going to pass away during your career or where you're active, if you would, from a statistical perspective, but it's important to take the right precautions. One of the precautions is life insurance. Now, most officers have what we call the old type of life insurance, and that's the type of life insurance that you have while you're working. And so what happens there is when you retire, when you lateral, when you quit, whatever happens, when you leave the department or you separate from the department, that life insurance stays behind. And we think that's a tremendous risk to run because you want the type of life insurance that you own. And there is such a thing. It means that most officers pay into it while they're working. And when they retire, they never pay again. But the coverage, the peace of mind, and the benefits continue until the day you die, which is a tremendous estate builder that will multiply. Like we call it a force multiplier in the military, that because of what you did here this much, your family someday gets this much in the future. The second challenge or risk you're going to face is becoming ill. And this is something that's very near and dear to my heart because I had to go through this a few times when I was with the police department. And that is if you get injured, or nowadays it could be an illness. If you go down because of something that happened to you while you were working, thankfully there's IOD. The downside of IOD is that IOD is only for a short amount of time as it relates to how long it could take to recover from something pretty serious. Does anybody know the time limit of IOD? You go home, you still get paid, which is great, but how long will that last for? Anybody? 1 year. 1 year. Yeah, it's 1 year, so correct. And so what happens after 1 year? You go on state rate. And state rate pays nothing compared to what you are used to making on the job and what your financial obligations require. I learned that the wrong way at the time I was involved in, but at the time, back in '98, was the fourth largest call out in the LAPD history. It was in my caper, but I was somebody that got caught up in a pursuit and I crashed, and I was out for almost a year. When I was coming up on my year, I got my letter that said, hey, I'm so sorry, you're still not better, but your surgery has to kick in. And so they decided to do it on my 11th month. However, IOD expires in 1 more month. And I literally had to limp my way back to work just to kind of turn on the spigot of income because I had 3 daughters at the time when my wife stayed at home. I just couldn't afford to recover the way it should have been. And so it's important to have this. We have life insurance now that will allow you to tap into your life insurance while you're still alive. And that's a huge, huge deal because now you don't have to liquidate assets. You don't have to go out there and take on loans and credit cards and so on. Heal yourself. Take care of yourself. But it's hard to do so when you have financial obligations waiting for you. And so therefore, we don't do what necessarily is best for our health. We sometimes do what's best for our wallet. And I completely understand why, but it's done unnecessarily. And then lastly is this living too long. Whoever thought that was going to be a problem? And what I mean by living too long, I'm talking about outliving your money. The good news is that all of you here are blessed to still have something that most people in the private world don't have anymore. And that's a pension. And that's a true blessing that you have to be grateful for, appreciative for, if you would, as how you see your job, the department, because a lot of places don't have that anymore. The downside here is that your pension is fully taxable. But like I always say, I'd rather have a taxable pension than no pension at all. And there are other challenges that can come with the pension that I'm going to cover here in just 1 second. So you don't have a risk of outliving your money all the way. But if I was to ask you a question, would you rather retire with 80% of your pay for the rest of your life or 100% of your pay for the rest of your life? Which one would you pick? Well, most people would probably say 100%, please. And I'm going to show you how you can do that and get over 110% of the money that you made while you were working while you are retired. And most officers don't even know these concepts exist. What's challenging as well, these are the most current CalPERS tiers, as they're called, and pension reform after pension reform has come. The last one we had was kicked in on January 1st, 2013. And so what that means is that every time they roll out a new version of the pensions, if you would, they're not reforming it to give you more. They're reforming them to make you work longer and receive less. And it's simply unfair. We believe that that is wrong. We believe you give this city, the department, too much to be treated that way. And I don't know anything about any of you here, but I'm assuming, and I know for a fact, that this gentleman here has a pension that nobody else here has. And he can get out of here sooner, maybe himself. Okay. And so the point that I'm making is that it's important to take ownership of your retirement today, even though you might say, I've got 20, 25 years to go. They're going to fly by. I promise you that you will leave this department someday. And the only real question you're going to have to answer is, how prepared are you? And that's why I'm here to do this out of my own time, to just hopefully inspire somebody to take ownership of their financial future. Now, the product that I'm describing that gives you all this stuff right here is something called an Index Universal Life, or IUL, life insurance policy. I refers to how your account is credited with interest. U, or universal, stands for universal because it's permanent. You stop paying into it at some point, but the coverage continues forever. That's important because study after study has shown that 7 out of every 7 people will die someday. And so you're going to die. It's just a matter of how well you leave your family behind, especially as you refer to the financial obligations I spoke about earlier. Let me just go through this real quick, and I'll leave you with a very quick sample of what the power behind this product can do for you. Here we have a 30-year-old police officer, male, and it does make a difference between male and female. 30-year-old male police officer, no tobacco, decides to save $300 a month to supplement their retirement. That's $3,600 a year. If this officer gets approved, because that's the biggest challenge, is getting into this thing. Understand that just a few short years ago, there were 2 classes of employees who didn't qualify for this. Number 1, police officers because of the risk and the nature of the job. And number 2, military. Today, military still banned from this. And I'm telling you right now, jump on it while you can, and you tell me if it's worth it or not. So this person gets approved, almost $300,000 from day one of life insurance. So that means that as this person is saving for their retirement, God forbid life happens to them and they die, a safety net comes out, and your family or beneficiary will receive a check for almost $300,000 income tax free. So if you die, it blossoms many times over. We don't want you to die, but that's if you die. If you don't die, but you get sick, especially what you should be terrified about are those things that last beyond 90 days or things that last beyond a year. In this example, if this officer comes down with a chronic illness because of a TC, illness, on duty, off duty, and so on, because the scary part as well is, what if you become ill that's not covered by IOD? Then you're down to your sick time, and you can burn. If you're at a 312, 410, you will burn through your sick hours when it's something serious in no time at all. And so here, if this officer comes down with a chronic illness, he can advance himself 2% of the almost $300,000. So what does that mean? He will receive almost $6,000 a month, every month, until A, he gets better and comes back to work, or B, 50 months go by, 50. And the reason it stops at 50 months or 50 is because if you take 2% times 50 months, that's 100% of the 300,000. He advanced himself while he was alive. If he advances himself 100,000 while he's alive, and then he dies at 85, then what the family will receive, 300,000 minus the 100,000 he advanced himself, so they get 200,000. So it's either win or win. There's no winning or losing here whatsoever. Let's just say he didn't die, he didn't get sick, he just retired, which is what I'm here to talk to you about. In this example, this officer would receive $22,000 a year, income tax free, for the rest of his life. Now, when I was on the department, all we knew at the time was deferred comp. The fur cop's been around since 1978 is when it came out. A lot has progressed in the world of law enforcement and products and services we use. Not one thing, well, maybe a few things that were being used back in 78 do you guys still use today. It's not the car, it's not the gun, it's not the vest. Probably a Sam Brown was about it. But yet our financial products haven't evolved. And so in this example, this guy's receiving $22,000 a year, income tax free until he dies, paralleling his pension. Now, can you get $22,500 from deferred comp? Yeah, you can. But the question is for how long? First of all, to net $22,500, you need to withdraw around $27,000 because of taxes from deferred comp. Easy math, let's call it $30,000. The average officer retires with about $130,000 to $150,000 in deferred comp. And some have a lot more, some have a lot less. Did you know that 75% of officers don't even do deferred comp? That's just the way it is. So if you do have 150 grand, and it's a lot of money, 150,000, how many times can you withdraw, let's just say 50,000 from it before you run out of money? That's 3 years. If you take out only 30,000, well, congratulations, you have 6 years of income coming. And after that, you're down to just your pension. Whereas here, you could receive $22,000 until the day you die, or technically in California, until you hit 120 years of age, which is when the contract is null and void. Other than that, it really is for the rest of your life, which is simply incredible. Now, two questions for you. One is a serious question, the other one's kind of stupid. First serious question, what percentage of your final year income, percentage-wise, do you think you're going to walk away when you do decide to leave the department? What percentage of your pension is what I'm getting at? There's a much bigger number over here than we're going to have over here. That's just the way, percentage-wise. What do you think you're going to receive when you retire? Anybody, percentage-wise, not dollar amounts. Anybody? 85%. Thank you very much. Okay, now here's the stupid question that I did have, is this one here. What percentage would you like to walk away with when you leave the department? Yeah, there we go. I like this one over here. Okay, so if somebody gives you a choice, man, take the whole fucking thing, right? The point that I'm making is that 150 is possible. 100% is very possible. I'm going to show you how to do that right now with a very short amount of money here. So here we go. And I'm just rounding this off for easy math, okay? I was a Marine, man. I don't understand this whole math thing. But here we have 100,000 final year. 80% is the pension. That means that this officer would receive $80,000 a year for the rest of his life, which is cool. Now, that's fully taxable, but that's okay. I'll take it. Then, when you retire, you no longer pay into CalPERS. And so the CalPERS that you're paying, that 9 to 12% that you're paying every month or every paycheck, you get to keep. And so that will put you from 80 to 92%. Now, if you add 22% that I just showed you right now, that's tax-free, that brings you up to 114%. So that means you literally make more money sitting on your ass at home when you're retired than you used to make pushing a black and white police car while you were still on the job. And that's just with the $300 ones. We got officers that do $2,000 a month and at over 200% income. If you have the time for the money to compound, that's another thing. It's all based on age, health, and other factors. I think this is just unfucking believable, to be honest with you. To think that you can walk away and make more money wherever you are. Hopefully you leave California and to sit somewhere and make more money than you did while you were working. A little bit about the company and I'm done. We've been around since 1848. As a matter of fact, we're one of the last remaining life insurance companies that's still in operation in this great country that literally paid a life insurance death benefits on both sides of the Civil War. That's old. 1848 this is our 176th year in existence, serving 1.3 million, sitting on billions of dollars of cash in reserve. And the reason that's such a good and successful story, this company, as humongous as it is, it's owned 100% by the people that actually have the policies. There's no stockholders involved. Otherwise, it would have rated this damn thing a long time ago. They can't. Have you ever heard of a credit union? They don't refer to you as a customer. They refer to you as a what? A member. Same exact thing. You're a part owner immediately the day you get accepted as a client as well. You qualify just one time, and no matter what life throws at you, because it's not a bullet that usually takes out a cop eventually, probably a heart attack from a statistical perspective. And 75%, did you know that 75% of officers are going to have a run-in with one of the big three by the time they're 65? Heart attack, stroke, or cancer. This allows you to cover all your bases while you're working stop paying when you retire, but yet have that peace of mind for the rest of your mind. Here's another thing that a lot of our officers like to do with this money. What they like to do, they like to use it to pay for their health insurance. You know how much you're going to be paying for health insurance on a monthly basis on average from your department? Anybody, any guesses? What is it? Sure. It's almost $1,500. Almost $1,500 out of pocket that you're going to have to come up with every fucking month. That's a lot of money. Why not knock that shit out right now with something like this that just covers it for the rest of your life? And then if you get on something else like Medicare or something, keep the money and spend it. It's an incredible product. So I'm out of time. I do want to do one more thing, just recognize somebody else. And that is this part right here. We have two of our guests with us. They are big police supporters. They've been with us. Irina, this has been with us for a very long time. Because I always say that there's two types of officers in this room. Those that own a home and those that need to own a home. Because if you already own a home, I congratulate you. That's going to be your number one source of wealth for you and for your family. But sometimes we take on credit card debt. We have non-tax deductible debt that we don't want. And so therefore, you need to refi, pay off your debt. She can help you with that. Now, if you are one of the other officers that don't own a home, Uncle Scam loves you because you are literally paying taxes out the ass unnecessarily. You're giving up on the number one biggest tax deduction we have in this country, which is one of the last deductions we have left, which is interest on your mortgage. Now, I get it. Homes are expensive. Closing costs are expensive. I get it. It's all tough out there. But if you are interested in becoming a homeowner sooner rather than later, and they represent you on the real estate side and the mortgage side, what they do for law enforcement and their families only, they will pay for all of your closing costs as long as they represent you on both sides. It's not a government program. It comes directly from their commissions at closing. But they get a ton of referrals from law enforcement, so it evens out at the end, and it makes it a win-win situation for you as well. So please do yourself a favor and at least consider homeownership if you're currently renting, and fuck it, rent it if you want to, but it makes a lot more sense to own in this country, especially with our tax code, than it does to rent. It all starts with a 5-minute pension maximization phone call. We're not going to come see you. It's just 5 minutes that we call you. We're going to ask you a few questions. One of them being, what do you expect to get when you leave the department? 85%. Perfect. What would you like to receive? You really get the chance to select your income today. I like that 151 over there. Fuck it. 150. And we show you what it takes to get there. You see, that's pretty cool. I like it. I don't like it. Thank you for your time. No hard feelings, and we're done. It's very, very important. I was just at Escondido. We have 4 more in Escondido. We have, like I said, Westminster. We have Gardena. We have my home to LAPD. We're going to be there for the rest of the month, and we're going to probably generate about 300 people or officers that are going to want to know more. We're going to give you priority access for the simple fact that this is the easiest place for me to follow up on. I live in Ontario. So, fuck, this is a gift to me. Yesterday, on Monday, I was in Escondido. You know how fucking far that is, man? That was brutal. But I really do believe in the cause of paying it forward. And I'll leave you with one last story. I was a training officer with the LAPD, and I left as a senior lead officer. But what I would do with all my probationers, the rookies, whatever you guys call them here, what I would do on day one, we would go over all the safety stuff. And then I would throw them in the police car. We'd go down to City Hall East, which is where the deferred comp office is. I would take them up to the 2nd floor and say, hey, look, listen, here you go. Fill out this form. I know you're broke. I know you don't have money. I know you can't think of retirement, but just fill it out. And they all did it, but I'm sure they all came back and canceled it, probably the next day or whatever. And that was it. I was at a Baker Vegas team captains meeting at the police academy about 2-3 years ago, and I hear somebody call my name in the back. They're like, hey, sir. And as soon as I heard that, I knew who it was. It was Lou, one of my probationers from 20-something years ago. I turned around and fuck, it's Lou. And sure enough, he has a Sergeant 2, the Rockers. I'm like, fuck, Lou, they made you a Sergeant 2? He's like, yeah, they did. Can you believe it? Whatever. So anyways, just said hi, walked away, and then I hear again, sir. And I turned back around. What's up, Lou? He goes, I never thanked you. I go, for what? He goes, remember that day you took me to the police car? You took me to the fucking deferred comp office. You made me sign up for it? Yeah. He goes, well, I kept it. Oh, you did? Yeah. He goes, and I have over $300,000 in it today because of you. And I just never said thank you. I was like, hey, at least I know somebody kept the fucking thing. And it made me feel pretty good because at the time, that's what I knew. And it was still a good decision. But there's good, and then there's better. So if anything I said here spoke to you, and I'm sure at least 2-3 things did, I don't want to take more of your time. Just put your name and your phone number, you'll get a text here in about an hour or two saying click here or tap here to schedule your 5-minute phone call. You can do it before, during, after work, doesn't matter. No selling, no begging, no bugging, no bullshit. This is just going to be something that either speaks to you or it doesn't. But I will tell you, because they are here, especially for you guys that are renting, make sure you check this off if it applies to you in regards to the buying, selling, or refinancing a home, because that's another personal crusade I'm on. I don't know what's going on in this country, but it's important for you to do what you can to make sure you're better off. And so anyways, I thank you all for your time. I really appreciate what you do. I ask you to please be safe. And if you have any questions, we're just going to be picking up our stuff. And we're out of here as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Sir, gentlemen, thank you so much.